it's Jessie here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. I apologize for the lack of videos this week. Things have been a little crazy. I had my camera battery charger quit working, so I was unable to charge my batteries all week. Amazon lost my package for the one that I ordered, so it came a lot later than I expected it to, and then when I tried to print my budgeting pages for October, my printer was giving me issues, so things have just not gone to plan in terms of YouTube videos this week. I apologize. And so, because of that, you guys are going to get a very long video today because I'm going to try to fit a whole week's worth of content into this one video and play catch up. So, I got my camera set up. I feel like the setup is a little bit off this week as well. It's just, things have not been going my way. But we're going to try to make it work. And so let's go ahead and get things set up for October and start budgeting. No time to chat. So I have my Budget by Paycheck Workbook here. It's from the Budget Mom. I have the printable version of this workbook. So I purchased it and I can print whichever pages I want as many times as I want. And that was the appeal to buying the printable version versus like the printed and bound one that gets sent to your house. I can print the pages that I need, leave off the pages I don't, and I can use this year after year. So I have gone ahead and printed the pages for October. Like I said, my printer was not working properly. I needed to clean the heads, and I did finally do that, but I printed all of this before I realized how bad it was, and so the actual pages that I write in are fine, but these pretty decorative pages in between are a little bit of a hot mess. I'm not going to waste the paper. I'm just going to go ahead and use these pages even though they're not like perfect or anything. That's alright. So I have my pages here. The way that I do it is I go into my PDF viewer, I select the pages that I want to print, I click on print on both sides, I have everything all kind of laid out and situated the way I want, and then I just print the pages that I need, which are a cash envelope breakdown for each week in the month of October, in this case, and a paycheck bill tracker for the month of October for each week. There are other pages in this workbook. I just don't happen to use those at the moment, so I don't bother printing them. So I have a page for each of the weeks. I'm just going to make sure this is all laid out properly before I punch them. And it's a good thing I did that because they are not in order. So this is actually the front. Okay. Yeah, this looks crazy, I know, but again, I don't want to waste this paper. So I'm just going to make it work. So I have week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. There are just 4 paychecks in the month of October, so that's everything I need. I'm going to go ahead and line these up. And I use a Happy Planner disc bound system. So these are Happy Planner discs. I have my cover that I just printed and laminated using my at-home laminator. And then I punch my pages using this gigantic punch. It's from Arc. The Arc punch does allow you to punch things to fit the Happy Planner discs. The punching is a little bit different than the actual Happy Planner pages are. So, you know, if you're using a Happy Planner and you want the pages to line up exactly with the pre-existing pages, you'll need to get the Happy Planner punch. The problem with that punch is that you can only print or only punch one page at a time. You can't punch heavy duty like laminated things. So I chose the Arc punch because I can punch plenty of pages at the same time. I can punch my laminated pages. I never have to worry about whether or not, you know, I'm going to be able to fit the things into this disc bound system that I want to. So my punch is very dusty. I apologize for that. It just sits on a shelf most of the time. So I've got my pages lined up. I'm just going to pop them in here. Goes this way, Jessie. What are you doing? Make sure they're all lined up and punch. So I've got all my pages punched now. They can go right into my Budget by Paycheck workbook towards the back, and we can get started on budgeting for the first week in the month of October, which today is actually Friday when I am filming this, so I'm very late to the game. I'm gonna put this here in front of my little Christmas sinking fund tracker, which I do need to update. I will probably do that at some point in this video if I remember. And that is that. So now we can go ahead and flip the page and start budgeting for October. So I have my favorite pen, which is the Parkoo Eraseable pen. You guys know I've talked ad nauseum about these pens. I absolutely love them. They're great because I can erase if I make mistakes, but I just prefer writing in ink versus writing in pencil. So obviously if you make a mistake with a pencil you can erase as well, but I just prefer this. And of all of the erasable pens I've tried a couple of different friction pens. In addition to these are the best. They write really smooth, they erase really well. Obviously if you leave your planner or whatever it is, your notebook that you've written in this erasable ink in a hot car in 100-degree weather, the heat will make the ink disappear. I got a question about that. Yes, that can happen. I don't worry about that because I don't take my budget planner with me. And even when I have written in erasable ink and then, taken my planner or my notebook or whatever it is with me, I've never actually had the ink erase on me. One thing I will say, if you do find that you have that problem, you've left your planner in the hot car and your ink is erased, if you just throw your planner in the freezer, it'll come back. So, you can get that back. Anything that you've erased previously will also come back. It erases with heat, with friction. So bear that in mind, but that's with any erasable pen, as far as I know. I don't think they make an erasable pen that does not have that problem. So, if you're living in Arizona or Texas or something, and you take your planner with you everywhere and you leave it in a hot car, maybe skip out on the erasable pens, but I love them. All right, so we are going to budget for the paycheck that my husband received on October 6th. We budget paycheck to paycheck, not month to month, so my budget does not begin on the first day of the month. It begins on the first Tuesday of the month, which is my husband's first payday of the month. So this is going to be paycheck number 1. I do not share my income. My husband does not want me to do that, so I don't. I respect him. So we're just going to skip out on that income amount and go straight into our bills for the week. If you've watched my channel for a while, you know that this bills category encompasses all of my bills, yes, but also anything that I use my checking account to pay. So anything that stays in my checking account goes under this bills category. I apologize for the shadows. It's very dark here this morning. I'm filming this super early in the morning because it's going to be a long one and I have a lot to do before I get it posted. And I want to make sure I get it posted on time for you guys since you've gone so long without a video. So, yes, I have some bills to pay this week, but I also have some other expenses that stay in my checking account, like my groceries, that sort of thing. So I'm going to flip to the October monthly spread in my deluxe monthly planner, which is where I keep track of all my transactions. You can see I also have not had a chance to design and print and cut stickers for this. The only stickers I have in here are just my transaction tracking stickers. But in terms of like a theme for October, I have not had an opportunity to do that. I don't know that I will. And that sort of thing is not super important. It's just to make it pretty. You know, you don't have to have fancy stickers and pretty stuff. A simple notebook and a pen, and you can budget. So don't get caught up in that sort of thing. Don't get caught up in having to make it pretty and having to make your budget look like everyone else's. Just do what works best for you. This month, what's working best for me is just getting it all down, not worrying about making it pretty. So this is the paycheck my husband received October 6th. So I'm looking for bills and expenses that fall between the 6th and the 12th. And my phone's going off, sorry you guys. Let me set that to silent. Oh, this video is going to be so long. So we are looking at all of these bills here. I did some rearranging of my bills this month. As you can see, they're all kind of in lumps, whereas they used to be spread out throughout the month. Trying to get a system set up where my bills are more spread out evenly by paycheck. Previously, I was having like 10 bills in this week and just one bill in this next week, and it was making it complicated, so I tried to split them up monetarily so that we're paying about the same amount in bills every single week. We'll see how that works. I can always go back and change them, but for now, I've got them sort of lumped in chunks here. Hopefully that makes sense. So we're going to write down all of these bills here. It's a lot, but these are all kind of smaller bills, so it's not too overwhelming. But before I get started on the bills, I'm going to write in the expenses for the week, which are grocery and household. I always do my grocery and household expenses under this bills category because I use my debit card to pay those things. We use the Walmart pickup service. It makes it super easy. And so that's why that's under bills, because that money stays in my checking account. Other money that we deal with comes out in cash. That's how I differentiate. So for groceries, I always do $150 for my grocery budget for my family of 4. And for household, we're going to budget $25 as always. Now we're going to go ahead and write down these bills. So I have Audible due this week, and I don't bother putting in a due date because I go in and just pay all of the bills on payday. In fact, all of these bills have already been paid. I just didn't get around to writing out the budget because of all of those things that I mentioned earlier in this video. So Audible, and we are going to budget $15 for Audible. My husband loves his audiobooks, so that is an expense that is well worth it for him and for me. I like to see him happy. Next up, we have Netflix, and for Netflix, I am going to budget $16. Hulu, I kind of got all of my streaming and entertainment services in this first week of the month, and it's working out great for me. So for Hulu, we're going to budget $15. And if you're not familiar with the way that I budget, I always round the amounts that my bills are up so that I know that I'm covered. My husband is paid based on commission, so his paychecks are not, they're consistent in that they're every week, but the amount is not consistent. His paychecks fluctuate a lot. So one of the ways that I deal with that inconsistent income and combat that is to round all my bills up and make sure that I am saving as much money as possible from paycheck to paycheck to cover in case we have a slower week financially. All right, next up we have Disney Plus. I'm going to budget $10 for that. We have my Boost Mobile bill, which is our phone service. Sorry, you guys, the little bit of light that I just had went behind a cloud. It's very dark. Please, please forgive me. This is not the way my videos typically go, I promise, if you're new here. Boost, we're going to budget $130. Next, we have my camper payment. My husband and I do own a camper we're making payments on, and we are budgeting $200 for that. And lastly, we have my Amazon credit card. This is going to be the minimum payment on my Amazon card. We do follow the debt snowball method. We are actively trying to pay down debt. We pay the minimum payment to all of our credit cards, with the exception of the card that we are working on at the moment. And that card, the one that has the lowest balance, gets all of our extra money. So Amazon is not the card we're working on, so we're just making the minimum payment. And for that, what did I say I was going to budget? $125. All right. So that is everything, and I'm going to pull in my calculator and add everything up. So we have 150 plus 25 plus 15 plus 16 plus 15 plus 10 plus 130 plus 200 plus 125 is $686. So that'll go in under the bill total here. All right, next up I have my cash envelopes. So what I put under cash envelopes is anything that is a weekly expense that we pull out in cash. So those categories are my husband's spending money, and we budget $40 for that. So I give him $40 at the start of the week, and that is all the money that he gets for the week to spend on his stuff, you know, whatever it is that he wants or needs throughout the week. Next, we have my personal spending money, which is also $40 for the week. We have gasoline, and I budget $40 for the week for gas as well. I drive a Subaru Forester, and $40 will definitely fill the tank on my Subaru. Anything that I have extra, if I happen to not spend this full $40, I put whatever's left at the end of the week into a sinking fund so that I have extra gas money for an upcoming week when maybe I need more than this $40 in gas. It's been working out really, really well for me. Next up, we have eating out. We like to budget a little bit of money every single week for eating out. Even though we are focusing on paying off debt, we're not gazelle intense, like Dave Ramsey would say. We are still trying to enjoy our lives while also making a dent in our debt. And one of the things that we enjoy doing is eating out once a week. It gives me a break from cooking, gives us a chance to do something together as a family. As of late, we've been doing a lot of takeout, not really dining in restaurants due to everything going on in the world. But we are budgeting $30 for that. And lastly, I have my miscellaneous category, which just encompasses anything else that might come up throughout the week that I didn't budget for. I always like to build in $50 into my budget for any miscellaneous expenses because inevitably every week something comes up. So we're going to budget $50 for that. That's it for my cash envelopes. So we'll go ahead and add these up. 40 plus 40 plus 40 plus 50 plus 30. My envelope total is $200. So I will just pull this money out in cash, put it into the various cash envelopes, and then I will have that money for spending throughout the week. Which you guys will see that a little bit later in this video, because I'm going to do the cash envelope stuffing in this video as well. Next up, we have sinking funds. If you're not familiar with sinking funds, the way that we do sinking funds is we have various categories of spending, and they are larger expenses that don't happen as frequently as like once a month. So they're expenses that we know that are coming, and we save a little bit of money throughout the year so that when those big expenses come up, we have them covered. The example I always like to give is Christmas. You know, Christmas is coming. It happens on December 25th every year, and yet for a long time, every year at Christmas, we would not be prepared and we would have to use a credit card to buy our Christmas gifts. And that's something that we are not trying to do anymore. So we just save a little bit of money throughout the year, $25 here, $20 there. And then that way, when Christmas rolls around, we have it covered and we don't have to come up with a ton of money that we don't have. So we have about a dozen sinking funds, but we only work on a couple of them at a time. And the ones that we are working on this week are home insurance. We pay our insurance for our home once a year, and we are going to be saving $75 for that category. And the other that we are going to focus on this week are holidays. And this money is going to be specifically for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's coming up real quick here. You guys know that I have a separate Christmas sinking fund, as I mentioned earlier in this video. We're not saving for that this week. I've kind of put that on hold because I got so far ahead with my savings for Christmas. So we'll start saving up again for Christmas next week, but for now we're going to put $75 in this holidays category for Thanksgiving. And I don't need my calculator to know that that is a $150 total. I aim to save at least $150 a week towards our sinking funds. The funds might change depending on what our goals are for that week, but I try really hard to always set aside $150 for whatever the sinking funds might be. Next up, we have extra debt. I told you guys we are doing the debt snowball method, and the amount that we are setting aside for our debt snowball this week is $150. That is what we've sort of built our debt snowball up to. We like to make progress on our debt payoff every single week, and so we aim to set aside $150 to send to the credit card that is lowest on our list, meaning it has the lowest balance. And that card that we're currently working on is a State Farm Visa card. And I'm excited to say that this $150 being sent to that State Farm Visa card this week is going to pay that card off. So be on the lookout for a debt snowball update coming next week. I wanted to get it done this week, but you guys know with the issues that I had, it just didn't happen. So be on the lookout for that next week. So that extra debt total is $150. Lastly, we have extra savings. We're not going to save anything extra this week. We're just going to focus on paying off debt and putting a little bit of money into sinking funds and getting our bills and expenses paid. So that is usually where I would end the video, and that would be my, my budget setup for the week, but it's Friday. I gotta get these videos out, so we're just gonna keep on trucking and go ahead and flip over to the cash envelope breakdown. So the way that I use this cash envelope breakdown page is I look at all of the categories that we pull cash for that I just wrote down here. So that's our cash envelopes, and we also do our sinking funds in cash. That's just a personal preference. That's the way we do it. And so I'm going to copy all of these categories of spending/saving here over to my cash envelope breakdown. And then we will figure out the denominations that I need to pull out of the bank so that I can stuff my envelopes. So let me go ahead and transcribe those categories here. I'll cut that out to make it a little bit quicker. And then we'll talk about denominations, and then we'll start stuffing some envelopes. All right, you guys, so I have gone ahead and written in all of my categories, and now we'll do the cash breakdown. So I just look at each of these categories and decide which denominations I want to take out for each category. So for my husband's spending, he gets $40. We like to take out two 20s for that. For my spending, it's also $40. We do two 20s as well. Same with gas. For eating out, it's $30. We do a 20 and a 10. Miscellaneous is $50. And for miscellaneous, we're also going to do, we're going to break it down a little bit. We'll do two 20s and a 10. For home insurance, it's $75. So we will do a 50, a 20, and a 5. And the same with holidays, 50, 20, and a 5. So then I just count these bills up. So we have no 1s, 2 5s for a total of $10. We have 2 10s for a total of $20. We have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 20s, which is $220, and 2 50s, which is $100. No hundreds. So we're going to take out 2 5s, 2 10s, 11 20s, and 2 50s from the bank, which, spoiler alert, I've already done. I'm all set and ready to stuff our cash envelopes, and that's what we're going to do now. All right, you guys, so I'm all set up here. I've got my stack of cash. I have my Conscious wallet, which is the cash envelope wallet that I have been using. The company sent this to me for review. I've been testing it out for the last couple of weeks. It comes with the wallet itself, as well as all of the cash envelopes, quite a bit more than what I actually have here. I think it came with a total of 12 envelopes. I've really been enjoying it. So we're going to use these envelopes again this week. I'm all set up and ready. So we can just go ahead and get started. I'm going to lay this cash out. I have already given my husband his $40 of spending money. So I'm going to go ahead and check that off. It means I should have a total of $310 here, which we'll count it up and find out. 50, 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 200, 20, 40, 60, 80, 90, 300, 5, 10. Indeed we do. So I'm just going to lay this cash out here to make it super easy. 50s, 20s, 10s, and 5s. So we are all set. And we're going to start out with my personal money. So I've given myself $40 spending money. That's 2 20s. I have my envelope here, which already has some cash in it because I did roll over some cash from last week. So we're just going to add that $40 in, 20, 40, to what I already had here, which was $30. So I now have a total of $20, $40, $60, $70 for spending. I just tend to roll my money over if I don't spend it all. And so that just gives me a little bit more spending money for this week. And that is my personal envelope filled, so we can check that off. Next I have gas, which was also $40, 2 20s. So I have my gasoline envelope right here, and we'll go ahead and put the $40 in there. I love that this little envelope has little transportation on it. So cute. So that takes care of gas. Next up we have eating out, which is $30. So my eating envelope here has little tacos on it, which is so cute. So we're going to do a 20 and a 10 for eating out. Check. Next we have miscellaneous, which is going to be $50, so 2 20s and a 10. And that'll go right into miscellaneous. The only other envelope that I have in here is my to bank envelope. So if at any point in time throughout the week I have to use my debit card for one of these cash categories, I will take the cash out of the envelope and just stick it in my to bank envelope. That money then can be deposited in the bank to cover that debit card transaction. I do have a little bit of a buffer in my account to cover anything while we're sort of in transaction limbo. So that takes care of all of my cash envelopes. I got my conscious wallet all stuffed and ready for the week. I'm going to throw this in my purse and we will go ahead and check this off, and we will skip ahead to my sinking funds. So I keep my sinking funds in cash. I have this accordion folder that I keep them in. It has a flat bottom, so it stands up really nice and easily. It makes it super easy to add money to my funds without worrying about this falling over 100 times while I'm trying to do it. Each of my sinking funds has a little tab in here, as you can see. Behind that tab is my stack of cash for that fund, as well as a little index card where I keep track of the comings and goings of that account, or that category. And this works out great for me. This sits in my safe here at home when I'm not accessing it, so it's perfectly safe. Works out great for me. I know that sinking funds in cash is not for everyone, but it's been working out for us so far, so I'm going to stick with it. So we're going to go ahead and fill the sinking funds. So first we have home insurance. So I just go through the tabs here until I find the one marked home insurance, and I pull that out. My home insurance fund currently has $150 in it, and so that's what I have here. I just mark on this card that we're going to add $75 today. So we're going to add $75, $150 plus $75, that's $225. So we'll go ahead and add 50, 60, 70, 5. I will put the 5 with the 5s, the 20 with the 20s, and the 50 with the 50s. And then anytime that I add or subtract money from one of my categories here, I always count the cash to make sure that I haven't made any mistakes. I'm famous for silly little mistakes, and if I count the cash, then I'm more likely to catch those mistakes. So we have 50, 100, 50, 70, 90, 210, 215, 220, 225. And that is what I was supposed to have, which means everything is accurate. And this can now go behind the home insurance tab till I have to access it next time. And then lastly, we have holidays. I keep this holidays fund, and it's just sort of a generic fund for all the holidays that are not Christmas. So we're leading up to Thanksgiving, so right now we are saving for Thanksgiving. After that, we'll start saving for Easter or whatever it is. I don't have separate envelopes for those holidays because we don't have to save nearly as much as like Christmas. We're saving $1,000, so I have my own separate envelope for Christmas, but for Thanksgiving we're gonna save like, you know, 100, and that's gonna do it. So I currently have $40 in my holidays envelope. I have not accessed it in a very long time, since May. So we are going to go ahead and add $75 today, which means we should have $115 in here if I'm not doing that math wrong. Like I said, I'm famous for making mistakes. My mental math game is not where it should be, but I think that's what we're supposed to have. So I'm going to go ahead and add this last $75 here to this fund. and we'll count it up. So we have 50, 70, 90, 100, 10, 15. Perfect. So that is enough to buy my Thanksgiving dinner for the most part. So I don't think I'll add any more, maybe a few more dollars to this just so that we know we're covered, but already we are well on our way to being prepared for Thanksgiving, which is great. So this will go back behind the holidays tab, and that's going to take care of my cash envelopes and sinking funds for the week. So that is it, you guys, for the budget and cash envelope stuffing for the first week in the month of October. Hopefully next week we will be back to my traditional format. I know not everyone likes super, super long videos. Audience retention is pretty hard to come by when I do a super long video. So I'll probably most likely be going back to my regular format next week. Just with everything going on this week, this is how I had to do it this week. So I hope you enjoyed this video nonetheless. If you made it all the way to the end, you are a trooper. Leave me a comment down below and tell me if you made it all the way to the end. You're a star. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss a video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys!